Episode 256 of the HHH Racing Podcast is brought to you by Hawthorne Racecourse, Chicagoland's hometown track, and the Adelphi Racing Club.
Adelphi Racing Club, offering a truly personal racing experience. Looking to own thoroughbred racehorses and win at the highest level circuits? We're not just a syndicate, and our members aren't just investors. We are partners. Experience the Adelphi difference. Join the club today. Contact us to get a taste of the Adelphi experience and come hang with us this Saratoga meet.
And now let's start episode 256 of the HHH Racing Podcast.
If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing Podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good evening and welcome to episode 256 of the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz. Tonight, it is our Kentucky Derby Roundtable. Many of our co-hosts will be here along with special guest Matt Miller to talk about all things Kentucky Derby. This is not a detailed handicapping show. We have covered this race and the entire weekend of Oaks and Derby races like a glove here on the HHH Racing Podcast. Thank you so much for supporting us this week, and please make sure you spread the word. Go back and look at all of our podcasts, bottom 10 horses, top 10 horses, two-day pick sixes, pick fives, anything you'd like to know, our opinions on the post position draws. We covered this entire weekend like a glove. Thank you so much. Please make sure you subscribe on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. If you've not done that, our subscriptions have been on fire this week. Hit that notification bell so you know when new content will arise, and also smash that like button. Every time you hit that like button, that helps us here at the channel. It sends people to our channel through the YouTube algorithm. You can follow me on Twitter at HKravitz. You can see that on my name tag, and then email me hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. Right now on the bottom of the screen, you can see it right there. Our next live show will be Tuesday. We're going to recap the Derby and the Oaks. And as most people know by now, I will be at the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks for the first time ever. I'm leaving tomorrow morning. So not only we're going to talk about the races on Tuesday, but I'll have some video of some interviews and a lot of exciting things that are happening at Churchill this weekend. So join us at 8 p.m. Eastern next Tuesday for our Derby and Oaks recap show. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. We have a lot of people who subscribe to the Power Picks. Now, I want to be very clear to everyone. I'm going to be traveling tomorrow. It's not going to be as easy for me to check my email and send out Power Picks. Tomorrow, Friday, our Power Picks, which is our tip sheet, for those of you not familiar, I'm sending out the Derby Day Power Picks tomorrow, Friday. So really, if you listen to this or hear this, you'd best, if you want information on our tip sheet for this weekend, you really need to get on top of that, ideally tonight, Thursday, so I can send you the Oaks and Derby Day Power Picks. But we really appreciate all your support on that. We also have a great website created by Pete Visco, one of our co-hosts. Check that out, hhhracingpodcast.com. Okay, here's what we're going to do to start the show. Before I bring on my fantastic co-host and Matt Miller, did anything happen today? Yeah, we're going to talk about that. But before we talk about that, let me take the banner off here on the bottom of the screen. Before we do that, here's what we are going to do. I am going to very briefly, and I mean very briefly, discuss every horse for about 20 seconds and tell you folks at home where I believe they fit within the top 4 in the Superfecta, or even if they should be in the Superfecta at all. We have a lot of people that are watching and listening that are involved in our Superfecta syndicate. If you're interested in getting involved in the HHH Racing Podcast Big Superfecta bet, that has closed already. I'm sorry that you cannot be involved with that this year, but we have many other bets we make during the year. So email us, wow, long weekend, long week, I should say, hkravitzhorse at gmail.com. Again, hkravitzhorse, one word, at gmail.com, and we'll put you on our email list for future bets. All right, let me go ahead and bring on the screen in just a moment here. Let me bring on the PPs. And like I said, I'm very quickly going to go through these horses. I'm going to take myself off screen and tell you where I think they could finish. And then we're going to bring out our co-hosts and Matt Miller and have a really fun discussion about this year's Kentucky Derby and bets and many other things. Hit Show, I think, could hit the very bottom of the Super. He's long-winded, got a brutal trip last time in the Wood. He could finish 4th, maybe 3rd, wouldn't shock me. I don't see him winning the race. Verifying, who, by the way, this morning lost his rider and got loose for just a little bit. Other than that, nothing happened. I'm starting to dislike him more and more, especially with Cyclone Mischief in here. I think 4th is his ceiling. I do not like him in the top 3. I don't think he wants the distance, and there's too much speed in the race. Two Phils is fascinating. He's my top pick in this race, although we all know I'd love to see Tapatrice win. But I like Two Phils. He's fascinating. I would use him everywhere in your Super. Confidence Game, maybe 4th. I know he's been working well. He's never been beyond a mile and a 16th. This is a very tough ask off a long layoff, but I do respect the connections. I have him 4th at best. Tapatrice using all spots. Love him. Have a big future wager. We all know that. He could absolutely win this race. He might be the most talented horse in this entire field. Kings Barnes, I do not like. I know some people like him. I think he's too slow. He got away with murder last time in the Louisiana Derby. That's not going to happen this time. Maybe 4th. I suppose 3rd's not impossible. He is not going to finish in the top 2, in my opinion. Reincarnate will show a lot of speed early and will fade to oblivion nowhere in the Super whatsoever. Mage, I liked a little bit early. Now I'm starting to go a little bit backwards on him. He's not done anything wrong. This is just a huge ask. I'm going to have him in 3rd or 4th. Could he finish 2nd or win? Maybe. I'm going to go and put myself on camera for the last 10. Probably not. I've got him 3rd or 4th in the Super. Skinner. I almost put this horse on my A line. I'm fascinated with him. I love Sheriffs. I love Juan Hernandez. The problem is I'm not sure he wants the distance. I know he's sired by Paul Halloran's favorite horse, Curlin, who obviously can sire a horse to get the distance. But every time I watch Skinner, he makes a big move and fades. Is it because he's been getting wide trips or because he's just one quick burst and that's it? I think it's more the latter. I do have him in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. He's fascinating. If he wins, I would not be completely shocked, but I've got him in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Practical Move, of course, we all know is scratched. Big story today. Disarm. This is a horse that Paul Halloran likes a little bit. I respect the connections and the works. This is a huge ask. I've got him 3rd at best, 3rd and 4th to me at best. Jace's Road, no chance in hell. Will show speed. Great candidate to finish last. He's out of my Super. Sun Thunder. The way the speed could be setting up now with Cyclone Mischief, I think he could finish 3rd or 4th. I don't think he's going to finish at the top 2. He'd be more like bomb underneath 3rd or 4th clunk up play. I don't think he's absolutely impossible to hit this Super at a huge price. Angel Vampire, love him. Pete Visco's top pick. Use him in all spots of the Super. He is an absolute A for me for sure. Forte, love the horse. Very talented. Only because of the price situation, I do not plan on using him on top in the Super, but of course he can win. I'm using him in all my horizontals. I'm just not going to put him on top because of the value in a 20-horse field. And at 2-1 or 5-2, if he's that, I have no reason to put him on top in a Super. Raise Kane, no chance in hell. Don't like him at all. If he finishes in the top 4, I'll be shocked. Dermisotogake. Almost put him in my top 3 when I did my selections. There's really nothing negative to say about him. I don't know. This is just I keep going back and forth with him. Second, third, or fourth for sure. Could he win? Maybe. I might put him on the top line. I have him as a B as in boy. I think he's very interesting. Maybe on the top line. Definitely second, third, and fourth. Rocket Can, I don't like at all. He's got blinkers on. He's going to show speed. I just don't think I don't think he's that talented compared to the rest of this field. I have him nowhere in the Super, maybe fourth at best. Lord Miles is scratched. We all know what's going on. We'll talk about that on the show. Continuar, maybe fourth. He's very long-winded. If the speed goes crazy like last year, maybe he can clunk up. I doubt it. Fourth at best. Cyclone Mischief. We're going to talk about these two horses when I bring on the co-host in just a second. I have absolutely nowhere in my Super, but I think he can absolutely play a factor in this race. I think Rosario is going to send hard from the outside, and this I'm very happy he's in the race for selfish reasons. Then you got the very last one, Mandarin Hero. Have we seen this before? The very outside post getting in last second. In the Super, I would use him in second, third, and fourth. I would be surprised if he wins. I wouldn't be shocked. I could use him on top in the Super as a complete bomb. I think he's fascinating underneath second, third, and fourth for sure. That's how I feel about each horse in the Super. We got a lot of people commenting. I haven't looked at the comments yet, but I will in a second. Let's go ahead and bring on my fantastic panel tonight. We're going to be talking for approximately 35, 40 minutes, really rapid fire on some quick questions. It should be a lot of fun. First, from the Saratoga Special in the great Commonwealth of Massachusetts, but right now from the state of Indiana, Mr. Paul Halloran. Next, the other co-host of this show from the great state of Maryland has done a great job all week, Mr. Pete Bisco. Next, we have the host of Bettin and Boozin, and they've been on fire this week, doing a great job all week long. Let's bring him on from Cheeseland. It's Kyle Roscoe. And last, but certainly not least, the 2021 BCBC champ. Proud to call him a great friend. He's going to give us some wonderful advice tonight and probably throw a joke or two or make us laugh, I'm sure. Let's bring him on, Mr. Matt Miller. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and do this right now. Thanks, everyone, for being here tonight. Did anything happen today in the Kentucky Derby news?
Wow.
Yeah, that's all I got to say.
A little bit. I'll tell you what happened, Howard. When our guy was on the track for training this morning, the sirens started to go off. And I got to tell you, I was concerned for the welfare of all the Derby horses, but selfishly extra concerned for that gray horse who was out there. The sirens going off is never obviously a good thing. It means a loose horse. Fortunately, they picked up verifying pretty quickly. But, yeah, that was a little unsettling.
For sure. Real quick, rattle some comments. Marco Perez, sup, fellas from LA. Good luck to your Lakers if you're a Lakers fan. Thanks for being here. Steven, smash the like button. Thanks for joining the show. Christine Race, awesome, very much. I'm going to disagree with this comment from Richard. Unless he's joking, I don't feel bad for this guy at all. But
no, I'm pretty sure he's joking. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's joking too. Let's see here. I'm just seeing. Yeah, we got a lot of comments. Let's see. Jim Pilars, who I talked to today on the phone, by the way, Paul, to wish us good luck with Tappa Trace. Derma is still his pick, despite all the changes. Let's see here. Let's see. We got David Brees is very happy that everyone's here. He mentioned Pete and Kyle, and David's very excited. And then last but not least, another BCBC champ, Brad Anderson, was worried that he did not have a table big enough for this all-star lineup of experts, but they all just fit just fine. Let's go, fellas. Time for some fun. Matt Miller, we've not heard from you all week, of course. Number one, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. How do you feel about Derby week? It's been pretty exciting already.
Very psyched for Derby week. I got to tell you, I'm not normally such a walking advertisement for Derby futures as a bet, but I have to admit, having one of these has made this season infinitely more entertaining than it would have been otherwise. So maybe not the smartest from an ROI perspective at times, but from an entertainment perspective, I definitely recommend having a little.
And who again do you have a Derby future on? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, you know exactly who.
Yeah, we know.
I didn't get him as early as you did.
TT. This is our new symbol. There we go. All right, guys, we got a lot to talk about in a short amount of time. Let's just jump in. I didn't really tell you guys this, but as I was creating questions for this, I realized when I was done, I'm like, hey, you know how many questions I have? There you go. 10 minutes to post.
Yep.
10 minutes to post. Guys, I've got 10. No, Pete, you don't like that one?
Oh, it's fantastic. No, I'm very excited for it. Yes, it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Pete loves the extra special stuff we do on the show.
I do.
I've got 10 questions, guys. First, very quickly, this is not a question, but you'll see we have to talk about this. Kyle, I'll let you talk about first. You've got Practical Move, which I misspelled, is out. We also, of course, know that Lord Miles is out, which I didn't put on here because I created this earlier today. Your thoughts on the big changes and how that may affect the race?
Well, I'll tell you what, you thought Practical Move was it. There's a lot more news to come out of today, but I mean, you touched on it earlier. What it does is it adds a lot more pace into this race. It changes the pace dynamic completely, in my opinion, which upgrades a lot of our horses that we like, i.e. Tappet Trice, Pete. I also am on Angel of Empire with you in this spot. If you for anyone that tuned in last night to our show covering the 2-day pick 6, Rosario jumps ship from, I can't remember the other horse that Disarm, I believe, is the other horse he's ridden. And he's going to have to send from the 21. He has no other choice for a horse like Cyclone Mischief, either on or near the lead.
No, Rosario.
Well, Kyle, he was
Rosario's on Disarm, guys. She was like, Rosario is still on Disarm. I haven't heard that he's not. Rosario was listed on this horse as an AE, but I believe he is on Disarm. I do not think there is a rider for this horse as of this minute.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he's right here. Anyway, Kyle and everyone else, I thought he ran a big race in the Florida Derby. He was wide. He made Mage work in the stretch. I just don't think the distance is going to work out for this horse, and there's other speed. But he's a pretty quality animal. I would love him in the Pate Mile, guys, but he's not going there. I'm sorry, Kyle, I'll let you finish your thought, then we'll talk about Mandarin Hero real quick.
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's kind of how I feel with the addition. It's just whoever, if it's not Rosario, whoever does ride, I feel like has to send from all the way on the outside, near the top flight, inject a little more pace, and hopefully can create a favorable scenario for our top picks.
Pete, Mandarin Hero. He's talented. I'll show the replay. I guess your opinion of Mandarin Hero depends on your opinion of Practical Move and Skinner as well. I'll show the stretch run of Mandarin Hero. If you people believe out there there's more speed in this race, I think he's live. They're listing Kimura on him, who's a very good jockey, a really good young jockey. What are the chances of Mandarin Hero now, Pete, in your opinion?
I mean, you and I actually talked about this a little bit earlier. I would have had him in sort of my, if we're talking ABC level, I wound up putting him in sort of the C bucket as a potential winner, not on the top. I'm not sure the 20. I mean, the 20 hole isn't great for any horse. So unluckily, he draws into, the far outside post. So to work out a trip from there might be tough. I mean, I know a lot of people like him. If you watch, he's sort of sitting on the rail here, tries to squeeze through, doesn't get through right away. Although I guess he gets pinched here a bit.
I thought he got a pretty damn good trip, Pete.
Yeah, I when we watched it that day, I didn't understand. Then everybody afterwards was like, "Oh, Mandarin Hero with that trip." I'm like, to me, it just he didn't run down a horse, so I wasn't sure was able to get that distance. And I'm not 100% sold on that race as a whole, which I think was maybe my blind spot this whole time potentially, but. I don't love him, but I think he could win because he's just pretty talented. And that was his first race in the States. And, he did have to still navigate through horses. So if you're talented, he ran close to Dermo Sotogake if you like him. So, I mean, why not? I think this race is relatively wide open. So if you have some talent and if he could work out a trip from there and having Kimura on him, I mean, at least he's a little bit more used to the U.S. style of racing. So, it's not going to be some crazy thing where I think he'll do something silly and get into some hot pace or something. I think he'll run the correct race with this horse. It's just the point of whether he can break and get up there.
Last points about the changes today, and then we're going to move on. I want to get Paul's and Matt's opinion, based on what happened last year, with an outside horse winning, who's a closer, who got to the race last second, how much will that affect the odds on Cyclone Mischief and or Mandarin Hero, in your opinion? Matt, I'll let you go first, and then Paul.
I think the trick is just that the world this time is aware that the horses are in the race. So I do think it'll be different. Literally, I don't think anyone had that horse on their radar last time. And this time it's kind of a news story. So I'm not sure it affects things too much.
Paul, any thoughts on the odds on both of them? I think they could both take money like in the low 20s. I really do.
Yeah, no, I think it will have an effect, not because, I get it, people are aware, but because it happened last year. It's like we talked about, the 80-1 shots going to be 20-1 because the bomb won last year. So there is a little cause and effect with what happened last year. And I think the fact that these two drew in off the AE, as did the horse last year. Joe Q Public, that's all they're going to know. The horse, the also eligible horse won last year. Let me play the also eligible horse. So I think it will have. I think they'll both be over bet, as a matter of fact.
Okay. By the way, I love your button, Paul. I think you flashed it earlier, but that's a wonderful button.
You're not getting one. You didn't pick them.
Okay. Racing downwind at the bottom of the screen. Forte did take a bad step. Listen, this has been a crazy week for me. I didn't even know about this till literally 10 minutes ago, guys. According to Racing Downwind, he's questionable. The hoof is on ice. Word is he might have a hoof tester. There will be a news conference tomorrow, supposedly, according to Racing Downwind. Guys, I don't know what the situation is. If this horse scratches, wow, that would be Matt and Paul, we would have the Derby favorite, I think, at a very large price. I don't know. It won't really affect the race flow, but it's just one very good horse that we would have.
Do we have any attribution for that? Because I'm not the most aware guy in the world, but I was there all day today and did not hear a syllable about that.
I don't know, but there was, Pete, do you want to comment? There's something, there was a picture on Twitter, and I don't know.
You saw the video where he took a little bit of a bad step when he was training this morning. So there was actual video of that. Now, I don't know if you could trust. I know Racing Downwind isn't someone who's trying to, just spread random rumors, but
you know that guy?
Of course, that's my guy. So, but I don't know if. Yeah, I don't know if anybody will know anything, but just the fact that it's even out in the universe is something to think about. But in the end, it sucks. It is what it is. If it happens tomorrow and hopefully he's okay, and I want him to win, so I hope he runs, but I don't want him to run and be compromised too, and then have something even worse happen. So we're just hoping that everybody's clean, but I think it's a big deal. But like you said, it doesn't affect the race flow, which is funny. So you get the favorite out. You could potentially, if the favorite was out, it almost does nothing except take away a horse that's going to be closing best, maybe. So it's sort of a funny circumstance.
I hope he's fine. I wish no ill will. We're going to move on to questions now, guys. But until I hear something definitive, I'm going to assume he's fine and running. All right, here we go. Every question, guys, I want everyone here on the panel to answer. It's going to be rapid fire, everything. But you could still obviously give your 2 cents, and feel free to give someone on the screen here a little crap and disagree. We're all good doing that. Here we go, guys. Questions about the Kentucky Derby or just anything relating to the race in general. First question, and we'll go Kyle, Paul. We'll just go in that sort of clockwise order first. Kyle, bottom of the screen, guys. Who will have the lead at the first quarter fraction, and what will be the first quarter time? Kyle.
Reincarnate 23-3.
Ooh, that's actually a little pretty slow, actually. Paul?
Jace's Road 22-4.
Pete?
I was going to say Reincarnate as well. I was going to say around 23.
Matt Miller?
I'll take Jace's Road at 23 flat.
I'm going to say Verifying 22-4. I think Verifying has to go. I do not think it's going to be a slow pace, and Cyclone Mischief is going to be up there. The other thing, I don't want to discuss this as a roundtable, but with Cyclone Mischief on the outside and Mandarin Hero and Rocket Can, I actually think that hurts Forte a little bit because you're going to have more horses, guys, coming over from the outside. And I would not be shocked if there's a little bit of a cavalry charge from the outside with Cyclone Mischief coming over. So I'm not saying Camiro's going to do anything. Or not Camiro, I'm sorry. We don't know yet. But Paco?
Lannery.
The chat was
is
saying
on.
Lannery, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Lannery's
Paco's
on
available,
Cyclone
by the
Mischief.
way.
Lannery is on Cyclone Mischief.
That's what
That's
the
what the
chat's
chat's
been saying. Yeah,
Okay.
so most likely
Well, he's
that's
not really a
correct.
Sun guy, but I'm sure he's going to go. Anyway, you might see this kind of flow, guys, from the outside. Just want to bring that up. All right, next question. Let's reverse the order that we just went. This is going to be for Matt Miller. Matt, who's going to have the lead at the top of the stretch? And just so everyone knows, that's exactly the 1 mile distance. So once they hit the top of the stretch, there's a quarter mile left.
I think Two Phils is going to hit the lead at the top of the stretch.
Ooh. Pete?
Yep, 2 fills. I was because I probably would have said I was thinking I would have probably said practice.
Up.
Okay.
Pete froze off. I would have said practical move also. Pete is okay. He's got his arm apparently is injured as well. Pete, if you can hear us, you froze up on us. We'll just go ahead and continue. Paul?
Verifying.
Oh, okay. Pete, you're back. Okay, Pete, who's going to have lead at the top of the stretch? You froze up, Pete.
2 fills.
Okay, 2 fills. Verifying Kyle.
I feel bad. I was going to say 2 fills as well. I think he sits the perfect trip to take the lead at the top of the stretch.
All right, I'm going to be a little bit off the radar. I'm going to say Mage.
Early move
I'll say
again.
Mage.
Early move.
What's that, Matt?
Another early move.
Yeah, but not good enough, I don't think. All right.
Yeah.
We'll go back to the same order. Kyle, you have this question. Let's assume Forte's running. Okay. Let's assume Forte's running. Will a Todd Pletcher trained horse? He's got 3 of them. Tapatrace, Forte, and Kings Barnes. Will Todd Pletcher win the Derby?
No.
Paul. Of course. Pete, I think I know Pete's answer.
My answer is fishy, but I'm going to say no. But yeah, I'm actually 50-50 because I like Forte.
Is there fence, Paul? Is there fence riding allowed?
Yeah. Right.
I told you this. We went over this yesterday. I like 2 horses. I don't give a shit. I mean, I like 2 horses. What do I care? Right, Matt? Matt, it doesn't matter, right, Matt?
Absolutely, I have 2
I know
horses.
you don't care. Yeah, what do I care?
Matt?
Sadly, no.
Oh, man. If I say yes, people are going to call me a hypocrite because they know I don't like Forte on top and I didn't pick Tap. I got to say no. But I hope I'm wrong. Again, I hope I'm very, 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 very wrong. All right. By the way, Charlie and Patrick both have some family engagements going on tonight. A few people asked, where are they? We'd love to have them on. Patrick might actually come on a little bit later, but we'll do a time where they're all on at one point. All right, next question. Matt Miller, this is for you. Over under on the number of times the name Safi Joseph is mentioned on the main NBC telecast.
And he gets to set the number too?
Yes, he does. He's the sports better along with
True.
here.
As long as within the same sentence or paragraph, essentially counts as 1.
Yeah.
1.
Pete?
Yeah, I was going to say 0, but I think you maybe have to mention just when you talk about the scratches. So it might be by default, but I don't think it'll be with the intention that we would maybe hope the conversation would go.
Fair enough. And by the way, people in the chat, feel free to answer these questions on the bottom of the screen in the chat, and you guys can banter back and forth. Paul?
I would say the over-under would be 1.5, and I would bet under.
Nice.
Okay. Kyle?
That was once or twice. So if the number's 1, I'll take over for the guys, but only 2.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2. They've got to mention at least once and just might come up again. I mean, but I don't even want to get into this story. The only thing I'll say is I'm very happy his horses are not running this weekend. I'm just going to leave it at that. All right. Next question. Matt, this is actually for you because this is right up your alley. So this is for Matt Miller specifically. If a bettor believes Forte is the best horse, how would you bet him in the Derby? In which pools would you focus your betting dollar? And I want to tell Paul Halloran that I made sure the second sentence did not end in a preposition. So anyway, because a lot of people make that mistake. Correct, Paul? Matt, what do you do with Forte? I know you like him. I know you're one of the best contests players in the world. I don't mean to embarrass you on air, but you are, and you know you are. There's nothing wrong with playing favorites. I mean, the gentleman in the top right of the screen just won the Grade 1 gamble with the biggest price of 5-2. I know this is not a contest situation. My point is you can win money without, taking a long shot. But there is a certain mattress Mac in here that will be part of your answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's kind of the fast and the easy part of the answer is, okay, you have some external factor that you know is going to drive down the price in the win pool. Okay, avoid the win pool unless you're getting the odds that you think are fair to you. But you're going to have multiple opportunities to get some price discovery on this horse. The best, in my opinion, and I happen to like this also very, very much from a money management standpoint, the best and the fastest info you're going to get is from the Oaks Derby Double. And you're going to get implicit odds, and you're going to have the quick ability to see what are the real odds that Forte is going off at. The reason I like that bet is if you do plan on betting both races, it is the best way I know of guaranteeing that you have something alive in the Derby. No matter how much damage you do to yourself all day on Saturday, you'll at least still have something going. So, but again, to answer your question, I would be looking at that Oaks Derby Double. You could look at the doubles going into the Derby and whatnot, but I think we're all pretty much going to be in agreement. Forte should be around 4-1. My guess is you're going to see 6-1, 7-1 within those multi-race bets.
Any other three want to comment on what Matt just said there?
I would agree. I think the win pool is, you just don't know what's going to happen at the end. Even though, the amount of money in the pool makes it more resistant to change than your average Saturday. But, $1.5 million is $1.5 million. And, God knows what our CAW friends are doing too. So there's a lot of uncertainty there that you could mitigate with the doubles.
We've also seen that you can have a favorite on top in the Derby and have nice payouts underneath. I mean, you can have it in verticals. It's happened many, many times. There's tons of good long shots in this race. You don't want to get crazy and you don't want to go too deep. But if you like Forte and then you say, hey, I'll do a Forte with a triple with Forte over, 3 horses, 5 horses, nothing too big, but you press it, it could still pay. Go ahead, Matt.
Well, the only point I want to make there, and I've been in this exact spot in contests before, I do believe in making sure you understand your actual opinion. And if your opinion really was for the horse to win, all of a sudden looking deeper into the field for second and third place, you're kind of doing something late on the fly that wasn't really in the plan all along. I would rather find different pools that are aligned with my win opinion. So I'd be looking at, I was joking with, I think, Drew Coatney earlier today, who in the world bets a daily double starting in the Kentucky Derby? that does happen to be a bet that's available. And joking aside, Forte would be better odds than that. And so you could probably do it even there if you want.
What the hell's going on? Yeah. Charlie Freeman, are you in the airport?
I am. I've just touched down in Phoenix.
Tell everyone why you're there.
Well, it was supposed to see Chris Paul and the Suns take over. Now it's to see the Chris Paul and the Suns avoid a sweep.
Okay.
So, a slight change of plans, unfortunately, but hopefully they still get the job done.
All right. Well, thanks for joining the show, Charlie. Feel free to stay on as long as you'd like there. Be careful. Don't trip on the the automated walkway or anything there, although that'd be great theater.
I was going to say, that's good content there.
That'd be great. Hey, Charlie, you're the perfect person to ask this question. We're doing our 10 minutes to post segment, which basically we're just asking 10 rapid fire questions about the Derby. So, Charlie, I know you're walking. You might not be able to read on the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to read it for you. This is a perfect question for the ultimate sports bettor, Charlie Freeman, one of the co-hosts of Bettin and Boozin. Charlie, here's the question. What color Gatorade will be poured on the winning horse?
Man, I don't think they're going to, but let's go with red. We got to be different. You got to be bold. We'll go with red.
Kyle, should we change tradition and do that, or that's probably not a good idea?
It's probably not a good idea, but I'll tell you what, it'd be another fun betting opportunity, I guess.
That
Well,
would
red. It's run for the roses. If you don't do red, what's the point there? I mean, then you got to do it.
I agree.
Well-
I'll be honest. I chose red because of Ohio State, but I like that thought a lot more.
There we go. All right, guys, let's go. We're going to go. Charlie, I'm going to start with you, and we'll go in counterclockwise order along the bottom of the screen. Sorry, bottom of the screen up. Next question, Charlie. What will be the $2 exacta payout in the Derby?
Oh my God, man, that's a tough question. All right,
We don't mess around. This is the big league. You've been on our main show once.
I have. I didn't have the rapid fire though. It's a new element I wasn't prepared for. I don't know. Let's go. My favorite number is 16, so let's go 16. I don't know, 1631. Got to have a decimal in there to seem like I'm an expert. We'll go with that.
Okay, that would be chalk. Maybe I think chalk would be higher.
Oh wait,
than that,
shoot,
but-
this is for $2, not one. Okay, I changed the plans.
So
We're gonna say
32.
it's gonna be. Yeah, we'll say somewhere in the 30s, maybe even a little higher. We'll go. Let's go. I don't know. Let's go 38.50.
Okay.
$2. Yeah, we'll go 38.50. Why not?
All right, which would still be very low. Matt,
I know.
Matt Miller, give us the $2 exacta payout.
I'll take the over on that one. So even if this went favorite, I can't picture this exacta being less than $50. I'll probably put my stake in the ground at 130.
By the way, Charlie Freeman, I will give you $50 if you jump on the luggage carousel.
It could be worth $50.
I do have a suitcase. I mean, $50 for that.
Oh,
that's
boy.
a lot of free bets for me.
Now I wish I did say that. No, please don't get arrested on our behalf. Pete Visco,
Hey, I could.
$2
Yeah,
exacta
I mean,
payout.
if the exacta's paying that much, I could get arrested making a ton of money on the Derby. It's worth it.
I don't think Mom or Dad would be too happy about that. But anyway, go ahead.
No.
$87. First thing that popped in my head.
Paul?
I think it's going to be low because I think it's going to be 5.15. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go 38.40.
Wow,
I thought I was going to be the lowest by a lot. Okay.
Kyle?
It's going to come 14.5, and it's going to pay 112.71.
Nice.
Wow, okay. I think there's going to be a fairly low price to win, but a fairly big price for second. I'm going to say 92 for 2 is my opinion. All right, next question. This is more just a philosophical question. Again, we're going to have about 10 more minutes, guys. This goes to Kyle first. Kyle, what is the maximum number of horses that should be allowed to run in the Derby? There's 20. It's a big debate. We could have this discussion for an hour, but give me a number, and you could say 20. Are there too many horses in the Derby? You can't really have more. How many? Give me a number.
Realistically, it's always runs into these numbers. I know we're going quick fire, so I'll run quick. You always have these people that say it's too many horses, or the horses that are on the back end don't deserve to be in. I would say if you wanted to limit it to a full number of 14, have the best horses run, but obviously that would have to change up the points. But we'll go full field of 14.
Paul?
I think you're peeing into the wind. It's 20. 20's the number. They spent all that money on the starting gate.
Peeing into the wind. Beautiful.
That ship has sailed, and the number's going to be 20.
Okay, Paul doesn't like the question. I get it. Sorry, Paul. Pete?
I'm with him. I like 20. Let's have one interesting race. I mean, overseas there's 25, 30, and they run fine. Let's just keep it at 20, fix the point system, and make it a little bit tighter, but let's keep it at 20.
Matt?
Yeah, I don't see how you ruin all the historical comparisons. I know they've tinkered with it over the years. I'd leave it at 20.
Charlie, how many horses should be in the Derby?
I mean, for me, it's the more the merrier. I think it makes it as fun as possible. So I certainly wouldn't go down. I'm cool with 20, though, because I don't know if they want to spend money adding more horses. I don't know if we need any more chaos. It's already hard enough to figure out as is.
Okay. I'm going to say 16, guys. There's horses that don't belong in this race, and there are every year. I'd like to see the rail moved out even further and make it 16, but I'm fine with 22. All right. Next, Charlie, you got this next question. Will you be playing the Oaks Derby double, Charlie? And if yes, are you more likely to spread in the Oaks or the Derby?
I mean, if I had to spread, definitely the Derby. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play. Actually, funny enough, I tried to see, because Earl's in Florida, I tried to have him because he was going to Gulfstream, play some bets for me in advance, but for some reason they wouldn't let him bet Churchill in advance for reasons I don't understand. So at the moment, I don't know if I'm going to be able to play anything. I will say proudly, I did research some OTBs, though, while I was waiting to take off. So I'm trying to find something in Phoenix so I can get involved
That's my
somehow.
guy.
Okay. By the way, Earl is his grandfather, just to let you guys know. Matt?
I will be playing that, but honestly, I don't love the Oaks. And so I'll probably be going single in the Oaks and 2 horses in the Derby, just with decent sized bets to get me alive to nice, like I said earlier, just to get me alive to decent sized wheel pace.
You know, this is, I like this question, not because I wrote it, but the Oaks in theory is more wide open, in theory, but it's the Derby, right? So I don't know. Pete, what do you think here?
My plan would be I like 3. I think 3 in the Oaks, 4 in the Derby was my initial plan. So depending on, I mean, I want to see I'd have to see what everything's paying, but I like 3 horses there. I like 4 on the top line in the Derby. So I'm going to stick with my top lines in both for now.
Pretty narrow. Okay. Paul?
Yes, I'll be playing, and I'll probably be 1 deeper in the Oaks. Maybe 2 deeper. I don't know if I'm going to use anyone other than the winner of the Derby. I don't know that I need to dilute the payment by using other horses that are running for second.
Interesting. We have a lot of people, by the way, anyone that's in the chat, I know I'm not recognizing a lot of you tonight because we're doing a quick show, but thank you very much. I see like Lenny Freed. I'm not familiar with you. He thinks 20 is fine for the number of horses. They're always spread out. Really, I appreciate everyone who's commenting in the chat. Please make sure you check out all of our earlier episodes this week. Kyle?
Well, my plan is to single in the Oaks, so definitely the Derby.
Wow. Okay. I'm going 3 deep, mainly in the Oaks. I would go deeper in the Derby. I know a lot of horses could win both races in theory. I think there's 3 sort of standouts in my mind in the Oaks, and the Derby's the Derby. So and there's really no standout in the Derby at all. So I would spread more in the Derby. Guys, we got 2 more questions tonight. Again, we've had a lot of fun here with our Kentucky Derby roundtable. I'll tell you what, I'll just call out a name here for the first one. I'm sure Paul loves this question. Now there's a whole new grandstand. It's called the First Turn, I believe. I think it's 5,000, Paul, if I remember correctly, new seat, 10,000? I don't see 7. Okay. This is just for Friday. Give me your attendance guess for Saturday. I'm sorry.
But here's one thing you have to consider, though. If you buy a general admission ticket now, you cannot be on the front side. You are in the infield only.
Really?
The only way you are on the front side is if you have a reserved seat in one of the million sections that they have.
So you're saying that'll increase or decrease the attendance?
Decrease. It'll decrease. So, but you're still going to get, I think, you're in the 150. They had, I think, a record. They had 54 today. It was, and I got to tell you,
wow,
54, and I'm trying to imagine 3 times that many, and I'm getting a headache imagining it. I think you're looking at about 150 to 160.
Pete?
153, 547. Exactly.
I feel like I'm at a baseball game. Guess the attendance.
Exact.
153.
So make sure you guys show up because I don't want to hit that number.
Kyle?
162, 247.
And Matt?
155. 555 for Paul.
You stole my. Dang it! I was going to say 155,555 for TT. I'll go 165. I think the weather, by the way, looks like it's clearing up. I know Paul is shocked by that, but I think they've taken some of the rain out of the forecast.
We try and tell you that every week.
At least that's what I saw. All right, guys, last question. This is a more serious. We're trying to mix the fun and the goofy. Last question. We're going to start with Kyle. We'll just go clockwise. Last question for the Derby, and then we'll wrap it up. Here it is. Kyle, who is most likely to win the Derby? An early speed type, a stalker, or a closer? Kyle.
Although more speed got added to the outside, generally speaking, as we all know, it's really hard to come from the back in Derby races. I think there's enough speed for closers to come home, but I will go with Stalker.
Stalker. Okay. Paul. Early speed?
Closer.
Closer. Okay. Pete?
Closer.
Closer. Matt?
I am on 2 Stalkers.
I'm sorry?
I am on 2 Stalkers.
2 Stalkers. Okay. All right. Charlie, what style is going to win this race Saturday?
I'm going to go with a Stalker.
Okay. I'm going to go with a closer, and I felt that way a little bit before Cyclone Mischief. Kyle, I don't know if Cyclone Mischief like totally changes the pace complexion, but I've always thought there's more speed in this race anyway. I'm going to go with a closer. Guys, as we wrap up the show here, and I'm going to go ahead and put up our final banner on the screen. We've had an incredible week. All of you guys have done a fantastic job with all of our shows. We've had almost 12 hours of coverage. Please go back and look at any of our shows. I know Paul needs a nap. I'm going to go around the screen. Just any final thoughts on this weekend, the Oaks, the Derby, anything you want to give out to the viewers, the listeners. I'll just let you talk for 1 minute, literally about anything. Charlie, since you're in the airport, and I don't want you to, trip and fall or something crazy happen. Final thought. Oh, what the hell was that? What do you? Oh, you're in the
Getting in the car.
I love it. You know what, Charlie, you're going to go last.
Now
I don't know what's going to happen with Charlie. We're going to have Charlie go last. I'll tell you what. Let me go to my co-host on the flagship show. Paul, any final thoughts for the viewers and listeners?
No, you got to love the spectacle. And I will admit, just being around the last few days, I'm kind of getting an appreciation for what a spectacle it will be. I mean, yesterday there was just a crowded Wednesday. Today it was markedly more. And as I say, 54,000 today. I think they set a record for Derby today. It's just, as you can imagine, the town, everyone's wrapped up in it. And I think it's a pretty neat spectacle. And I'm glad to see it up close once, and we'll see if we see it up close twice. But it was pretty good. Being on the backstretch this morning, there were hundreds of people on the backstretch this morning. It was really good.
I am very excited, Paul, to see you there tomorrow. I'm getting in a little bit later tomorrow. I'll be there at the track somewhere around mid-card for the Oaks. Very excited. Pete, final thoughts, man, for the week?
Well, Paul always says everything much more eloquently than I do, so I'll go with something stupid. I'll say, since today is May the 4th, for all the Star Wars fans out there, you got to bet. There you go. Darth Vader tomorrow, Baby Yoda on Saturday. Bang them both. Bring them home. I don't like either one of those horses, by the way, but I'm just saying for the May the 4th. I know Howard is puzzled.
Sorry, what's May 4th? I'm seriously asking the question.
Oh, man.
Oh, Christ.
This guy.
Next time, just put yourself on mute in the background, and the show would go a lot smoother.
I'm not a sci-fi guy. I'm sorry. I don't want.
May the 4th. Did you ever hear of May the 4th be with you from Star Wars? I'm sure you had to hear that. May the 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
It's a big Star Wars day every year.
You guys make fun of me for my puns. I mean, so it's like Star Wars Day because
but we don't. Yeah. But you actually say the puns. We didn't invent May the 4th. We just enjoy it. It's different.
Angel of Empire, by the way. I mean, the Empire.
That is true. I didn't know if that one. I'd rather have that one win, Matt. That's a good call. Although Angel of Empire, that sends a little bit of a mixed message there. We'll see.
Hey, Open YD, thanks, man. We've had so many new people, Matt, in all seriousness. And Matt, I also want to thank you personally in front of the whole world here for all the really kind thoughts you had for the show, for myself, for the podcast. And even though I know we're great friends, I know everything that you say, especially publicly, is very heartfelt. So just thank you very much for all that, Matt. Final thoughts for the week or this weekend?
Yeah, so I'll give a few. I mean, one, for those of you watching this show without the benefit of a futures bet on Tapit Trice, we're all, those of us that have that are pretty biased and tainted here. We're at least pretty open and honest about it, but I honestly wouldn't know what to make of this Derby if I was looking at that horse at 5-1. That horse for me would make this a pretty tough Derby to bet. And so without trying to throw cold water on anything, it's just another horse race. And it's actually a race where you know a lot about the contenders and it's a lot of fun. I don't think it has to equate to the biggest bets that you make all year. And so, like I said, if you can find a way to get alive to something in the Derby, some kind of multi-race bet, maybe that Oaks double would be a good one. It's fun to have money going, obviously, into the Derby, but I wouldn't be going too crazy. It's one of the toughest races to pick out there. And at the end of the day, a win's a win. And if you can find a good win 4 races earlier, it's not quite as glorious to say that I won it in the 7th race instead of the 11th, but whatever.
The only thing, wait, real quick to Matt's point there. The only thing I would disagree for 1 second would be the one cool thing about the Derby is you can hit, a triple or a super for a big payout with good horses. They just happen to be inflated odds because there's so many other good horses. Whereas in other races, just a regular Tuesday, you generally would need a piece of crap to hit the top 3 at like 40, 50 to 1 to get a huge payout for something vertical is what I'm thinking about. That's the one thing I think the allure of the Derby is. You can have sort of a, 4 or 5, even 6-figure score with actually good horses hitting the board. So I think that's the one thing I think that separates the Derby from all the other races we have in this country.
Kyle, final thoughts for this weekend.
Both the very astute men on the bottom of the screen took my note that I had was, for a race that's as big as the Derby, and the whole Derby card and Oaks card is full of big fields. You don't necessarily have to make massive wagers to be able to make a lot of money, even playing chalk, as Jim Pillars continues to give me crap about every single Wednesday. You can play chalk, even chalk doubles are still going to be upwards of 8, 9, 10 to 1 just because the pool sizes are so large. There's a lot of pieces of pie to go around. So don't feel like you have to absolutely splurge on Derby weekend to make your money.
Charlie, final thoughts as you're driving. Where are you going, Charlie? Where are you headed off to?
I'm on my way to my hotel.
Okay, very nice. Responsibly wearing a seatbelt. All young people paying attention to this, Charlie. Charlie, thoughts for this weekend?
Yeah, so for starters, I guess with like a hype up message, it's the greatest 2 minutes of sports. It's electric. Just enjoy the Derby, enjoy the experience. I know for me, as I kind of talk to Kyle a lot, even my friends who know nothing about horse racing, they were texting me about picks this week and they pay attention to it. So for, being on the Bettin Boozin, trying to get to the younger audience perspective here, just enjoy, meet up with some buddies, go to an OTB nearby. If obviously, if you're legal and able to, go do that. Maybe play some bets there, then go back to one of your friends' house and sit down, relax, have a few beers and just enjoy watching the races and have a good time. And from a betting perspective, since I didn't get to give any input, while I did become a chalk eating weasel and go with Forte, I'm rooting for Mage. I'm hoping Mage wins this race. Sprinkle on Mage if you can. I know it's a young, inexperienced horse. All this stuff, blah, 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 about avoiding this horse. Take it anyway. Ride the wagon. Mage is going to stun everyone. I think Forte should win, but my heart wants Mage, so I'm all over Mage. And then I do have to give a shout out to Kyle, though. I think Angel of Empire is another good call for this race. In terms of everything else, just have fun. Do it. If you're vertical and you don't feel comfortable enough doing a pick 5 or something, then stick to that. If you want to take a chance and sprinkle a few dollars, as everybody here has touched on, there's a lot of money to be made. See, that is the big thing. I think that is the key for why you don't have to bet a ton, because you don't need to bet a lot of money to make a lot of money. You can bet on good quality horses and get very solid returns. So you can definitely fit any budget. Don't feel like because it's a big weekend and big races that you have to go splurge a ton of money. You can easily sprinkle a few dollars on a bunch of different bets throughout the weekend and still have a great time. And honestly, it's a lot more about just enjoying some great racing, a lot of fun, a lot of good time to spend time with family and friends and go enjoy this. Get people into it, make that the way to have fun. You don't have to go crazy and hit some big bet, but maybe get a few friends and do some friendly wagers on it. I know my friends and I would do forfeits for whoever picked the worst horse in the Derby would have to do something. So find different ways to have fun in the Derby. That's what this weekend's really about. You want to win, but it's a great weekend to have a good time.
Charlie, I think that's great advice. And the only thing I'll say to wrap it up is, again, I cannot thank the viewership, the listeners, all you guys out there. We have had an incredible week. Our numbers are absolutely outstanding. They continue to grow. Do not let Derby week be the beginning and end of watching the HHH Racing Podcast. We've been on for 2.5 years almost now. This is our 256th episode, we bring some of the best coverage in horse racing on YouTube and on your listening platform. So please do not be a stranger. Look for all the promotions below the video player. For me, guys, it's my first Derby coming up here in Oaks. I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm just going to enjoy the hell out of it. I want Tappa Trice to win for about 14,500 reasons. But if he doesn't win, I'm going to be totally okay with that. I'm going to enjoy this weekend so much. I'm going to have a lot of video for you guys. I'm going to meet some people I've not met before in person, like Kevin Kilroy and a lot of people that have been on this show, people in the business, and I'm going to be doing it with my brother. So it's going to be outstanding. I want to thank all of you out there for your love and support. Please join us next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to recap the Oaks, the Derby, and I'll have some fun video and stories from the 2023 and 149th Kentucky Oaks and Kentucky Derby. For my great co-hosts, Paul Halloran, Pete Visco, Kyle Roscoe, Charlie Freeman, and special guest Matt Miller, this has been your host, Howard Kravitz, episode 256 of the HHH Racing Podcast. We wish all you guys luck tomorrow and especially Saturday for the Kentucky Derby. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his HHH Horse Racing Podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.